By the way, we got 3 hostages back. The hostages were so sad. We're talking about dead bodies, which people call hostages, but I don't know what you'd call them. I spoke to the parents. We got Nutra, from New York and from the United States, and I spoke to his parents, and they're thrilled in one sense, but in another sense, obviously, it's not too great. But we're very happy to have done it, and we're looking for the remainder of the bodies.
That's President Trump on Air Force One speaking as Israel received the remains of 3 more deceased hostages on Sunday. One of them identified as Israeli-American Omer Nutra. He was serving on the IDF on October 7th before he was kidnapped brutally. 8 deceased hostages remain in Gaza. Hamas claims it's having trouble finding and identifying the rest of those bodies. Meanwhile, Israel launched strikes in southern Lebanon over the weekend to pressure Hezbollah to disarm. This morning, DNI Tulsi Gabbard making a surprise visit to Israel to visit the U.S. Coordinated Center for Aid and Security Efforts going into Gaza. Joining me now is Fox News senior strategic analyst. He's chairman of the Institute for the Study of War, General Jack Keane. General, great to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Your thoughts on where we stand with that ceasefire and the deceased bodies?
Well, as you indicated, 8 more to go. The Israelis have given Hamas the location when there were 13 of 10 of the 13. So there's no doubt that they can find most of these bodies. I think they obviously are stalling. They want to consolidate their power. It looks like they have no intention of disarming and giving up governance. So we have a challenge in front of us. The United States is proposing to the UN Security Council the organization of an international stabilization force. It'll probably take a couple of 3 weeks for that to get approved by the UN. Certainly, that force, they believe, should work with newly vetted and trained Palestinian police that are being trained by Jordan and also by the Egyptians. They want that force to be in consultation with Egypt and Israel. Who would make up that force, we don't know for a fact, but some of the volunteers are Egypt, Azerbaijan, Indonesia, Pakistan, and Turkey are raising their hands. And the missions they're thinking about it, the what of it is challenging. Certainly to stabilize security, secure the borders. Here's the tough part. Destroy militant infrastructure. Another tough part. Demilitarize the militants. Whether there's the will and the resolve to do that remains to be seen by these countries that are going to provide forces. I think the size of it would be about 5,000, not counting the police, which would be another 2,000 to 3,000 in terms of administering it. But we got some challenges ahead, Maria, to determine what would be the rules of engagement, and is the mission truly to disarm Hamas if they don't voluntarily disarm themselves. And if they don't have the will to do that, remember what President Trump said in the Oval Office when he, in the East Room when he announced the deal. If Hamas reneges on disarming, then he would give Netanyahu the green light to finish Hamas once and for all. I think it's likely this force is going to take weeks to form. I don't think we'll see much in terms of execution until 2026 in that first quarter, the first couple of months of it. This will take some time. So our audience understand this is very unusual. President Trump reversed these negotiations. He made the big deal first, and that is ceasefire, hostage prisoner exchange, Israel withdraw from Gaza City, Hamas disarm, give up governance. And then the details of all of what that is, the hostages release itself, and now the details of who's going to govern and how you're going to put together an international stabilization force, all to be worked out, as opposed to all that done first, and then the deal is signed. President Trump wanted an agreement on the big picture, and now the details will take some time, and people are going to have some patience going through this process.
Yeah, and then there's Russia, Ukraine, and when I spoke with President Trump a month ago, 3 weeks ago, it was pretty clear to me at that time that he was not going to send Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. He's talked about that as well on Air Force One, but told me 3 weeks ago that the U.S. needs them. Watch this.
When you spoke to Vladimir Putin, did you tell him that you were considering sending Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine? Are you still seriously considering that?
We need them for ourselves, too. You know, we can't give all of our weapons to Ukraine. We just can't do that. And I've been very good to President Zelensky and to Ukraine, but we can't give, you know, if we're going to be short, I don't want to do that. I can't jeopardize the United States.
And he basically confirmed that, General, on Air Force One last night. Russian forces claim that they're making advances in key Ukrainian territory after striking the country's military-industrial targets over the weekend. Now, Russian and Chinese diplomats were meeting recently in China to reaffirm Moscow's alliance to Beijing. Your reaction?
Well, first of all, Russia advertises every day that they're winning the war, and they are not winning the war. I laid that out in a New York Post editorial last week, the details of all of that and what that really means. In 2025, they're averaging over 1,000 casualties a day.
Wow.
And all the territory that they've taken is 0.6% additional territory. In the last 2 years, they've been trying to conduct this offensive to take all of southern Ukraine, which by anybody's characterization has failed, despite Russia saying they're advancing every day and making progress and winning the war. They've only gained 1%. They haven't taken a major city since 2022 when they took Mariupol. So this is a Russian narrative. We have a tendency to buy into it, and it's actually exaggerated and quite false. When it comes to the missiles, President Trump has outgunned Ukraine with extended range attack missiles. They go about 250, 280 miles. There's some training undergoing right now for them to be able to use those. He's adding air defense systems, the Patriot batteries that they desperately need to protect their people, because what Putin has done escalated the war on the Ukrainian people. I don't think the book is completely closed on Tomahawk missiles yet. There are sufficient missiles in our inventory to provide a limited amount to Ukraine to take care of some very specific targets, like the Iranian manufacturing drone center at Abaluga, which is outside the range of all of the weapons that Ukraine has had of their own and the ones that we and the Euros have given them, and also the bases where the bombers come that are killing the people every single day. These Shahed drones and the bombers dropping glide bombs are the killing instruments of the Ukrainian people and their energy infrastructure. Ukraine needs long-range missiles to reach those bases and that manufacturing center, and it's a target that is much more about defending the Ukrainian people than anything else. I think the book is not completely closed on Tomahawk missiles yet.
Oh, interesting. All right. Great analysis as usual. General, great to see you this morning, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, great talking to you, Maria, as always.
Right. General Jack Keane joining us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.